Go back! Go back! What? Go back!
We were riding down this block and these white people start saying, get out of here, niggas. You know, get out of my neighborhood. Don't come to this neighborhood. Then they start hitting on her. Throwing rocks and everything else. Throwing rocks. Because we were in their neighborhood.
We went on a bike hike to McDonald's. We didn't mean to bother anybody.
We had a nice parade
down there. We saw a gathering, so we went down there to see what was happening. All right. I mean, we didn't bother anybody. We weren't looking for trouble. I never even know people around here were like that. I've never experienced anything like this in my life.
What happened to you?
Nothing happened to me, but this little boy, short boy about my size, or little short, and picked up a rock, and he was in the front of all these tall honkies. But he threw the rock. He tried to hit my sister, but he almost hit me about that much away from me. And I was sure what she had. It hit me with that rock. I would pick up the rock right next to me and hit him right dead in his face. They always say niggas are doing everything. They always say we're doing everything, right? Every time the white people come down the block, we don't push them out their neighborhood and throw rocks and start hitting them. We don't bother the white people around our neighborhood, but when we get in a white neighborhood, they just push us out.
I was reading the things that white women used to do and white men used to do to black slave men, and it's just, man, it's like I literally could not sleep. I could not sleep. There was a story of, I believe it was either one of George Washington's wife's slaves, but she had over 40 slaves to herself, and a lot of those slaves were men. And no one fucking talks about the shit that white fucking women, white slave owners, wives used to do to black men to demoralize them. They used to make them literally leave all their clothes off and be their slaves.
I've lost so many friends and family members from speaking out against racism, but it has all been worth it. I've had people I used to spend my Christmases with tell me that I'm a disappointment and the embodiment of everything that's wrong with America. I've had family members post my videos and make fun of me online. My kindergarten teacher told me that I'm a disappointment and then immediately blocked me. She's a Latina woman who has consistently been a Trump supporter. I've had people who I thought were my friends who were also anti-racist and liberal who immediately unfollowed me because I became too controversial.
Listen to this. Every white person in this room who would be happy to be treated as this society in general treats our citizens, our black citizens. If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for others.
Hello guys, welcome back again to my channel, and of course if you're new here, please subscribe. Now this is what I want to say. You know, you can silence the truth for a while, but you cannot bury it forever. There will come a time that the truth will just come out itself, no matter how much you're trying to bury it. And that is exactly what is happening in America right now as we speak. Because the past of the white Americans against black people is now waking up. And it is coming up for the very generation that thought they had escaped these consequences.
Never forget that the United States was built on stolen land with stolen people who were massacred and brutalized. All of this that is happening right now is a direct response to white people being pissed off that this country elected a black man to be president, not once, but twice. And he was and still is beloved. This is an inherently racist country. And until we face that, admit that, and dismantle it, we're going to keep having these problems.
The same generation that always says that they were never involved. They were never involved in slave trade. They were never involved in segregation and so many bad things that were done to the black people. Now they are the ones who are paying these consequences. You know, they normally say that when you do bad thing to someone, it might not affect you at that time as an individual, but it might follow your generations. It might come back later to affect maybe your fourth generation. As long as the generations belongs to you, it will come back and affect you. So the consequences are always paid here on earth, not in heaven. So the white people are now paying the consequences of mistreating the black Americans.
God's people, you better hear what I'm saying to you. You better shut your white mouth. You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you. I know some of you was raised in the deep South and you was raised by prejudiced people and bigoted people. You better get that out of your system. You better get it out of your system. It'll cause you to suffer right along with those masters. It'll cause you to suffer right along with them. These are God's people. And I know that there's wicked in white races and wicked in black races and all that. I'm not justifying none of that stuff. I'm just saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here, and God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor. You watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you.
For centuries, America buried its truth beneath lies, pride, and denial. And white Americans normally convince themselves that the past is the past. The past is gone. And the past that they're talking about here is slavery, segregation, racial terror, and many more. They forget that their actions are still affecting the black Americans still to date.
If they do it to the most marginalized and get away with it, they will start doing it to everyone. That has been ringing in my head, and this situation comes to mind. In 2005, during the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, when black people went to grocery stores and got supplies and food, they were looting. They were criminalized. When white people did it, they were finding food. They were surviving. Now, I was only 4 years old when Hurricane Katrina happened, and social media wasn't really a thing, so I don't know how much backlash and discussion there was about this, but I have a feeling that a lot of people that looked like me didn't really seem to care a lot that black people were being criminalized when white people weren't. Now in 2024, 19 years later, Hurricane Helene, everyone is getting criminalized. Everything is considered looting. I've been saying this for forever, and I mean it's as clear as. There's also something to be said about the lack of solidarity and uproar when it came to Hurricane Katrina, and a lot of it was due to the lack of social media and the lack of spreading information, but a lot of it was also due to racism, because New Orleans was a predominantly black community, whereas what's happening in Appalachia, this is a predominantly white community, and there is more uproar and outcry right now, and I think a lot of it is because people remember Hurricane Katrina, but also because these are white people. At the end of the day, neither community deserves to be criminalized and denied their basic human rights because they're trying to survive a catastrophe.
But the good thing is, no matter how hard you try to bury the history will never die. Now the history has come out to speak the truth for itself, because no one is speaking for him. So the history is out here to speak for itself. And white people have got nowhere to hide, because the truth is finally speaking for itself. And it hides in the corners of the classrooms, it hides in the family secrets, and in the silence of the old photographs. And now, the truth that America buried for centuries is now returning back. The ancestors are waking up unapologetically and relentlessly. And white Americans now stand in shame as the ghosts of their past rise to confront them and their generations. And this time round, they can't hide. This time round, they have got nowhere to hide.
In prison.
Jose Torres and Kayla Norton cried throughout this entire sentencing hearing. The judge said their crimes were racially motivated and filled with hate, and then sentenced both of them to more prison time than the state was asking for. Torres got 13 years, Norton got 6. Norton is a mother of 3 young children. She said she accepts responsibility and said not walking away from the situation on July 25th, 2015 was the worst decision of her life. The couple was part of a large group the judge called white supremacists. This Facebook video helped a grand jury indict them. Their pickup trucks flying Confederate battle flags pulled up to a birthday party for a black child in Douglasville. A jury found them guilty of several charges, including yelling racial slurs, threatening to kill partygoers, including the kids.
But I want you all to know that that is not me. That is not me. That's not him. I would never walk up to you and say those words to you, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. I am so sorry.
The apology caused some. Ultimately, mother to mother, she said this.
I forgive you. I forgive all of you. I'm not a mean spirit husband. I do. I forgive you.
The same system their ancestors built is now reflecting back at them. So guys, I want us to watch some clips here. Then we come back and have a chat as far as this topic is concerned. And of course, if you love our videos and you're here for the first time, please do us one favor, subscribe and drop us a comment in the comment section. Let's dive.
Hey, white people, we've been quiet enough, don't you think? How many more white couples have to be beat down before we step up? I'm curious. Why are we not making noise? I get it. We're not like those ghetto people who have to be loud and obnoxious and, you know, put on a big fucking theatrical scene. I get that. But maybe we should. Maybe we should make some noise. Maybe we should take matters into our own hands. Because obviously, nothing is changing. It's only getting worse, as you can tell by the couple in Cincinnati. I'll tell you what, when I go to the party, I'm definitely bringing my own stuff. And I guarantee you, it's going to be louder than the rest.
All right, let's address this and let's put things in its proper perspective. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Now, I've been a huge advocate against what is wrong and a huge advocate for what is right. What does that mean? Is that I am an equal accountability smoke giver. I hold white people accountable. I hold black people accountable. I hold men accountable. I hold women accountable. I just address things based off of my moral compass and not even based off of race. I rock with people based off of the content of their character, not the color of their skin. I don't believe that anybody, including the alphabet community, should have privilege one above the other. And that, you know, they change the dynamics of how we see things and how we treat them outside of anything other than how they are expected to act and how they carry themselves and how they treat other people and so on and so forth. So with that being said, multiple different things is true. Yep, I do think that it was wrong for them to monkey stomp and pound that dude into oblivion in Cincinnati, and we very much are going to have that conversation tonight on After Hours. I also think that it was egregious and it was wrong for, you know, several different things that happen in society. It's bad when black people do stuff to white people. It's bad when white people do stuff to black people. But let's be very, very clear, right? And it's idiots like this that really, really get my blood boiling, because even though I think that black people have been running into victim elimination, not even to black people, ninjas and people in black culture, because it's cultural issues, and there are phenomenal black people just like there are phenomenal white people. It's idiots like this that instead of addressing the issue, they saying, well, we need to act like them or we need to start a race war. And I'm not for that. I don't believe that anybody should have their hands put on them. And anybody that does, I believe personally that they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And at the same time, I'm not an advocate for violence. I'm not an advocate for anything other than peaceful protesting, which I think that protesting is stupid, as we've seen from so many different people, including
this country intentionally has used the criminal law system to oppress and control black people.
For sure.
So now we know that nobody's coming to save us. And we've known that. And we know that neither party, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, has even included us in the conversations while these parties are running and vying for those political seats. So your experience, you had the same experience. You know what it's like to be on a prison bunk. You know what it's like to see the separation of mothers from their children. You know that incarceration only causes further harm. We know that drug cases were intentionally, and drug sentencing was intentionally made harsh and with inequities that are inexplicable, meaning, you know, the differential between crack and powder cocaine, where there was
the 1 to 100.
Absolutely, even when they closed it down, they didn't close it all the way. To this day, it's still
My
a
lawyer
disparity.
still said, I wish you got caught with coke and not crack. I was like, but it's less coke in the crack, so I don't understand.
I was reading the things that white women used to do and white men used to do to black slave men, and it's just, man, it's like I literally could not sleep. I could not sleep. There was a story of, I believe it was either one of George Washington's wife's slaves, but she had over 40 slaves to herself, and a lot of those slaves were men. And no one fucking talks about the shit that white fucking women, white slave owners, wives used to do to black men to demoralize them. They used to make them literally leave all their clothes off and be their slaves. Like, we talk about working in the field, but we don't talk enough about that shit. And that lasts even to this motherfucking day. This is the book Black AF History, and this is about the attack on black men in America. There have been so many gender assumptions in history when it comes to like men and women. And a lot of the times we think of a lot of the black women got raped by white slave owners. Yes, but you will not understand how many black men have gotten raped, SA'd, and basically humiliated by white women that were slave owners, the wives of the slave owner, or the man, the slave owner himself, or both of them. I think everybody needs to get this book. It's here on the TikTok shop for $21, and it's going to teach you about black history that is unwhitewashed, the unwhitewashed version of it. This video might be triggering to some people, so please keep scrolling if it is. This is going to be about the abuse of black slave men. There were so many reports, you guys, that honestly I could not read all of them. Like, there were so many reports of black men that were humiliated, abused by white women. Like, there was one report of a black man that was forced to leave all his clothes off, and he was chained to the bedroom to the point where his wife, the slave owner's wife, was like literally humiliating this man, and even the husband would too. At one point he divorced the wife because of her attraction to the slave was more than her attraction to him. Peter Nielsen documented a lot of this abuse, and this happened a lot of times towards lighter skinned slaves and lighter skinned, mixed slaves and things of that nature. It also happened towards African slaves as well, and there was a lot of times when, like I said, this would be a humiliation thing. Like, they would either have to give in to this, they would have wives, they would have children, but at the end of the day, if they had an attraction to the slave, they would have to give in and please the woman. And a lot of times the woman would be like, in distress or whatever, and he would feel forced to do things with her. Also, a lot of times when there would be, let's say she would get pregnant with this guy, she would force his wife to be a fucking wet nurse, and she would force him to get her pregnant at the same time so that she could have the wife of the slave as a wet nurse, because she would say, oh, well, I feel like I'm too much of a slave to my children to breastfeed my own children. Therefore, I want a black woman to breastfeed my children. So we would have to breastfeed white people's kids. Like, when I tell you the evil goes so fucking deep and shit, it's just like, it's so sick and demented, y'all. It's really sick and demented. There's so many more details. But like I said, there's so many reports of this. I couldn't even read all of them. It sickens me. And like I said, none of us have received reparations. I think this is insane that this is going on, and this was America, and it's been normalized. But yeah, definitely grab this book, but be careful because there's a lot of triggering topics.
For the past several days, all I've heard was either how much people have loved or hated Charlie Kirk. And I'm going to be honest with you. I could not stand the man. And the more that has come out about him, the more that I didn't like him. The videos circulating of things he said and done. And it just goes to show that white folks are so sick of racist, narcissist white people that they are now turning on each other. It literally was a white Republican Trump supporter that took his life. That says a lot. When your own, not only race, but a white man with the same political views as you purposely took your life the moment that you said what you did about gang violence speaks fucking volumes. If that doesn't tell you Trump supporter something, nothing will. That man spoke his own death into existence down to how it happened, except it happened to be a white Trump supporter that did it. When I'm sure that he would have rather it have been a non-white person, especially somebody from another country, to do it just so he could be a martyr or whatever, which y'all are already trying to make him out to be. Whatever. That man is looking up at us. And I do mean that literally. That man is not looking down from heaven. He is looking up, and it is hot where he is at. I promise you that. I do hate that his children and his wife had to see it. His wife knew what she was getting into, but that doesn't make it right for her and them babies to see it. I'm just glad that he can no longer teach that to them babies, but I hate that they did lose their dad. That is the only sad part about it, is I feel bad for his children. His wife knew what she was getting into, but those babies didn't. That is the only part of me that feels bad, literally, is for his children. But at the same time, maybe somebody with some sense can help come and heal their heart. Because being raised by a person like Charlie Kirk was only going to create more people like him. And like I said, even white folks are sick of it, as you can see. So those of you that are running around spewing hatred, that should be a lesson, loud and clear.
Better turn around, Don't go back! Don't go back! Don't go back!
We were riding down this block, and these white people start saying, "Get out of here, niggas. You know, get out of my neighborhood. Don't come to this neighborhood." And then they start hitting on her.
Throwing rocks and everything else.
Throwing rocks. Because we were in their neighborhood.
We went on a bike hike to McDonald's. We didn't mean to bother anybody.
We had a nice
parade. We saw a gathering, so we went down there to see what was happening. All right. I mean, we didn't bother anybody. We weren't looking for trouble. I never even know people around here were like that. I've never experienced anything like this in my life.
What happened to you?
Nothing happened to me, but this little boy, short boy about my size, or little short, and picked up a rock, and he was in the front of all these tall hunkies. But he threw the rock. He tried to hit my sister, but he almost hit me about that much away from me. And I was sure wish he had hit me with that rock. I would pick up the rock right next to me and hit him right dead in his face. They always say niggas are doing everything. They always say we're doing everything, right? Every time the white people come down the block, we don't push them out their neighborhood and throw rocks and start hitting them. We don't bother the white people around our neighborhood, but when we get in a white neighborhood, they just push us out.
Yeah. Everybody was upset. They still with nothing, you know? They were a piece of dirt, dogs. I mean, that's the way you treat an animal. I mean, God, we're human beings. You don't treat other people like that. It's just wrong. Black, white, I don't care. A person is a person. Skin should have no bearing on how you treat a person. That's just wrong.
I hate their goddamn guts.
I can't say that I hate them. I can't say that it's totally the kids' fault. I mean, I'm sure their parents had some bearing on the way they feel and everything else. I think it's just the system. I don't know. I can't say that I hate them because I don't hate anybody.
Do you forgive them?
No. No. Can't take back no hurt. But they gonna always do that. They always spit on us like we some dogs. They always spit back on them. Ain't nothing gonna change.
People won't like this, but the Bible already ended racism. Acts 17:26 says, and hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth. That means there's no such thing as a superior race. God made all of us from one blood, no matter the skin color, no matter the continent. Racism ain't just ignorance. It's rebellion against God's word. And if you still think you better than somebody because of your skin, you ain't walking in truth. You walking in pride. The gospel don't segregate. It saves all of us by one blood from Jesus Christ.
Now guys, welcome back. Now, for generations, what America believed it could outrun its sins. They thought writing textbooks maybe would erase the chains, will erase the blood and the screams of the black ancestors. They silenced teachers, they censored history and called it patriotism. But the truth leaks through those cracks. Those ancestral spirits are hidden in those pictures. The history now speaking by itself through the social media. It's now speaking through the documentaries. It's speaking through the voices of the oppressed, who are the black Americans. Young people are now beginning to see what their parents refuse to face, whereby the illusion of the innocence is now falling apart. And across America, young white people are asking questions that are dangerous. Why were black people enslaved and what for? And why did their family own lands that were not theirs? And why is it that people who look like them get chances and others don't? You know, these questions are very tough and they need answers. And these white young people are asking these questions very loud because they fail to understand why is it that they have got many privileges that others don't. These questions are tearing open wounds that were never healed. And the dinner tables have become battlegrounds between truth and denial. Some parents respond with anger, others with fear, because the children are looking for answers for these questions. Once the children discover the truth, the comfort of their ignorance is going to die. The privileges are going to end. So they are afraid to tell their children the truth. They are afraid to face the truth head on. But this time round, they have got nowhere to hide because all the cracks are left open. And this is what people need to know. The past isn't sleeping. The past is very much alive. It breathes through police brutality that mirrors slave patrols. It echoes through prisons filled with the descendants of the enslaved. It hides in neighborhoods built on stolen land and redlined maps. Every injustice today is the shadow of yesterday's crime. And the rich Americans' greatest fear is this one, because their children can now see the truth clearly, and they are paying it. They are paying the consequences that their ancestors committed, and their parents refuse to pay them. Truth burns when you've lived your life inside a comfort that was built on lies. Because for generations, black Americans warned them, you cannot bury what you refuse to heal. And that one day, the same truth will resurface. It is being shouted in classrooms. It is being shouted in the old pictures. It is being shouted in the protest. It is being shouted at art and in every screen. And the world is finally seeing what black people always knew. America never healed. It only hid its wounds. Now those wounds are now reopening. and everyone can see who caused those wounds to the black people. And they should not misquote that this is a revenge. No, this is a reality catching up with them, because the new generation is choosing honesty over comfort, and the old lies are collapsing under the weight of the truth. White America is realizing the sins of their ancestors are not gone. They have just changed the form. And now, their children must face what was never faced before by them. And the past has finally found its way home. The shame of history isn't a punishment. It is an innovation. An innovation to rebuild, an innovation to acknowledge, to finally be honest. But you cannot rebuild on denial, because no matter how far you run or how hard you hide, the past will always know where to find you. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video, and of course, if you love this video, please subscribe, leave us a comment in the comment section, guys. And this is your guy Fred from the Motherland, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and let's meet again in my next episode.